Hello and welcome to NHL Best Bets. Last night there were 11 games and we had two picks like we used to have in every night. Here we go with the results of the last night picks. First one was under 5.5 goals in Detroit-Nashville game. Detroit was still sleeping for the first period, and I think in the first 8 minutes, one guy for Nashville scored hat-trick, and result was at that moment 4-0. Nashville was out shooting Detroit 12-1 during that time span, so it wasn't very good start for underbet, and at the end game was 7-1 for Nashville. So main reason for going over was the miserability of Detroit's game last night. But then Vegas, Colorado, the top match of the West, Colorado started to play in second period. They scored their 4 goals and end result was 5-1. So clearly over 5.5 goals with this 6-goal night in Colorado, and very convincing performance for the home team, especially in the second period. Tommy, why we took Detroit Nashville under in that kind of game?
First of all, I would take this same bet 100 times out of 100 times because Rocco Grimaldi does not score 4 goals in anytime soon. So last time it was Derek Brassard ruining our underbig by scoring a hat-trick, doubling his tally for the season, and now the same was done by Rocco Grimaldi of Nashville. So he had scored 3 goals before in the whole season and now scored 4. But yeah, like you said, it was just Detroit was so bad in the beginning. On the road, of course, difficult place to play, but still miserable effort by them. And of course, almost every shot went in. So it was a bad start, and of course, it went then clearly over the line. But like I said, neither of these teams are really heavy scoring, and Detroit should do better. They're still an NHL team, so that was a horrible result. But if you take a look at the positive side, it is for the Nashville, because Nashville is something that we've been expecting to do better. They're not as bad as they've seemed, and now their defense is starting to work a bit better, and therefore they're also capable of moving into the offense and scoring some goals. And of course, great game by Juuse Saros again for Nashville in the goal. So unfortunate over, but let's do this sort of picks again, because I do think that there is value and was value for the night as well. And in the other game that went over, there was a little bit of a scare because we speculated about the goaltending situation. Neither of the teams were supposed to have their number one keepers, but they did. So Philipp Grubauer was playing for Colorado and Marc-Andre Fleury for Vegas, but still in the second period, we saw how good Colorado can be when they start converting their chances, and they did score at will in there, and Vegas was completely they had no chance in that second period. I think it was 3 shots on goal for this whole second period by Vegas. So that sort of numbers tell that it is a very under-like game, but this time luckily it was Colorado scoring the goals and almost did it by themselves. So 5-1 score, a pretty good over. Maybe would have thought second time if we knew that the number one keepers would be starting, but still very heavy offensive team. Colorado can do it by themselves as well.
Yeah, I think it could go a bit further than just 5 goals for Colorado, because Fleury made a few very, very good saves during the second and third period. But Colorado has struggled in scoring, even though they have had 50 to 60 chances per match, and have been able to score only 2-3 goals. But now, I think last 5-6 games, they start to play a bit better in the scoring point of view, and have scored 5 to 6 goals per game. So that's a good sign in Denver.
Yeah, and it's also like we've been mentioning that they did create the chances, so that has never been a problem for them. It has just been to get the puck in the net, and it's a good sign that they were patient. They have not started to overdo it. They haven't missed out on the defensive side of the game, so they are still pretty solid on defense as they have been previously, but now they're also converting their chances. So it is the top team at the moment, at least in the western side of the NHL.
How about other games? I can see that the New York Rangers played very well against Philadelphia, and that was one game we discussed. Another one was our boy Kevin Lankinen shutting down Florida. Alexander Barkov wasn't playing, but still Chicago was a bit better, mainly because of their good goaltending and converting those chances that they had.
Yeah, very good game from Chicago again. They do play their own style, and that starts from the bottom, from the defense and from the great goaltending now they have. So you can easily see that they are putting faith on their goaltending, so they're much more free to move the puck a lot more faster than early in the season. So a very good game from Chicago. And of course, missing Barkov for Florida is massive, but it shouldn't be this big. They were pretty underwhelming in every aspect of the game, so they were not producing as much offensively as usually they do, and maybe it is that one guy means so much for that team, both defensively and offensively, but let's hope that Barkov will be back soon for Florida. And yeah, you mentioned the Philadelphia trashing, Rangers trashing Philadelphia, something that we've been waiting Rangers to do. Now they did. Too bad it was against Philadelphia that we've been also thinking that they should be doing a little bit better. But in Philadelphia, there is a massive issue now in the goal again, which seems like a tradition for Flyers that whoever plays in the goal just can't keep up this level that is needed in the NHL. Now it doesn't matter if it's Brian Elliott, seasoned veteran there, or Carter Hart, a young guy who's supposed to be the next Carey Price and one of the better keepers. Nothing is working for the goaltending department, and of course then it reflects to everything they do. So the defense starts to play very scared. They are just getting rid of the puck. They don't have any confidence. So that's how it ends up 8-3. And what was the result? They lost last time 9-1 or something. So not very nice results for the Flyers. So let's hope they can bounce back from this and get their act together, because we are still predicting them to challenge for the playoffs, if not make it.
Then one interesting game was the rematch of the Stanley Cup. This time Dallas was on the driving seat from the beginning, and interestingly Tampa Bay was still leading 2-0 in the game, even though Dallas was the team all the way from the beginning, and it was only the last minute or minute and a half left when Roope Hintz then scored the winner when he got breakaway. But do you think this was just the off night for Tampa, or is Dallas improving to the level that we saw last year?
I think a bit of both. I think Dallas played pretty well in this game. They did deserve their victory. But Tampa is this sort of team that can frustrate you, that they can, even if they are taking it for the most of the game, they can still beat you because they are so good team, converting their chances to score, and they are boxing out the defense pretty well. So you don't get a lot of chances against Tampa Bay. And Dallas they did score from their A-grade chances, and they managed to score 4 goals, which usually is enough to beat a team, and now it was enough against Tampa Bay as well. But I do think this pairing, you saw this sort of Stanley Cup rematch spirit there a little bit. There was a lot of action going on, and like I said, could have been a very frustrating result for Dallas if Tampa Bay could have just casually pulled out a victory once again. But I'd say it's a good thing that Dallas won this one, so there is a sort of contending going on also by Stars that have been maybe a little bit roller coaster up and down team. Maybe if they get a little bit more balance in their game, it will be another nice playoff run for the Dallas.
Yeah, and it looks like Dallas have their stars starting to shine again. Of course, they need to have good games from the goalies, and this time Oettinger was maybe a bit shaky with few of these goals, but like I said, Tampa can be good, and they can just have an off night and then still win the games. But this time, like I said, deserved win for the Dallas.
Yeah, I have to remind that both teams have a couple of injuries as well, so we can expect Tyler Seguin, Alexander Radulov back for Dallas at some point, and of course Tampa Bay is missing Nikita Kucherov, Ryan McDonagh is out, and Eric Cernak as well. So there is injuries as well. So both of these teams might just get better come the playoff time and when we go a little bit further in the season.
Talking about games tonight, there's only 5 games, but we find some good value there. Anaheim goes to St. Louis. St. Louis traveled from St. Paul back to home after getting beaten by Minnesota 2-0. So not too much offense there. We expect that to continue, and Anaheim is well known for not to show too much offense either. Hopefully both starting goalies, Mr. Gibson and Binningham, will start these games so they can provide solid goaltending for under bet. And then Winnipeg Calgary. Winnipeg is on the road in Alberta against lousy home team Calgary, and good odds 100 plus 120. With the good results for this road trip for Winnipeg for the last 2 games, when they won convincingly Vancouver in Vancouver 5-1 and 4-0. And at the same time, Flames have now lost last 3 games in a row. They are coming back to home. That is not very significant help for them, and that's one of the reasons why we have found good value for the road team in this matchup.
Yeah, only 4 games actually, because the Montreal game was postponed due to the COVID. But
okay.
Yeah, we got these good 2 picks still. Like you said, St. Louis back from Minnesota. Not a very good game from them. They didn't score a single goal. St. Louis is a better team than Anaheim is, but maybe not offensively. So they're not very offensive team by any means. They win games by playing good defense and then grinding out the wins. So I do think that at home they will beat Anaheim, but with a very low score. So maybe 2-3 goals maximum. And like we keep mentioning, Anaheim is a bad team. They're now dead last in their division. They're not producing offensively. Their defense has been surprisingly shaky. So I don't think they will score a lot of goals, but they play very defensively in every game, because that's the only way they can actually battle for victory. So even if there is maybe Ryan Miller still in the goal because Don Gibson might be out, it's not quite certain. He was not listed in the injured reserve anymore, but we'll see how that goes. It's been very questionable this season how this works out. But nevertheless, I do think that this is a great underpick. I'd say it's 3-1 for St. Louis. And then going to Calgary, our favorite home team there. So they have their home record pretty bad. Winnipeg, on the other hand, we keep betting on them because they keep being undervalued by the odds makers. Winnipeg with great odds, plus 120, even if they just came out of a great performance against Vancouver in a very similar sort of situation as they're now playing Calgary. So I do think Winnipeg should be favorites here, and quite with a long margin. Even if Calgary is now playing defensively, they have went back to their sort of bread and butter type of game in Calgary, but still, I don't see how Winnipeg would not be able to win this game. So it's gonna be a close one, but Winnipeg is such a good team at the moment that they should take the victory quite easily.
Then we have 2 other games. Like I said, only 4 games. So Washington hosts New Jersey Devils. There is some value for the road team, but as we've seen, New Jersey has been a bit roller coaster team, so not anything to be secured bet in that game. And then San Jose, Arizona, a bit similar type of game when the visitor here, San Jose, can be very good, but mostly hasn't been so good. So there's some minor value on the road team here in this pretty close 50-50 matchup, but you never know what kind of sharks you'll see on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, that San Jose, we saw some sparks last time when they played from the Sharks, but then they can just not show up. So it's a difficult team to predict, and we're gonna skip that. But there is value. I think against Arizona they should do good. It's a coin flip of a game, and the odds are favoring Arizona quite heavily. It's 53% for Arizona, not so heavily, but difference from for the simulations. The simulations have San Jose winning 49.3%, while the odds are around 47%. So there is a road underdog value there, a small one, but there it is. And then the similar sort of thing about New Jersey. They were losing a lot, then they were winning a couple, and again, like showed a little bit of life, but then they've been let down a couple of times. Now they lost to Washington the first game, 4-3. And I do think that they keep battling, and it's going to be pretty much a similar game as it was yesterday. But Capitals is a little bit better team still. We do have underdog value for New Jersey for about 5%. So 41.5% is Devils winning this game. I have my doubts against the Devils in this case, but let's see. Let's hope they can manage, and it would be good for this division as well to even out the differences a little bit.
Yeah, I think Washington has found their way of winning games now, and they are driving to the number one spot in the division very clearly. And even though Islanders is currently leading, they have 2 games more played than Washington, and during the last 10 games both have won 8. So these are hot teams, like we discussed a week ago when they faced each other in the best matchup of the East.
Yeah, I think when the springtime comes and the weather gets warmer, the playoffs are coming. These veteran teams like Boston, Washington, probably Pittsburgh as well, are only gonna do better and better. That's where they are aiming is the playoffs. Of course, you have to make it there first, especially in this weird schedule and weird season. But for these sort of teams that have a lot of veteran star players, I do think that the best we're gonna see from them is not in February. It's gonna be more in the April or maybe even May.
Let's see how they perform tonight first, and then see how they'll do in May. But tomorrow we'll be back with more games and more picks.
Yeah, one game at a time.